Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed, Shlita. Here we are, Yom Chamishi. Continuing our learning, please continue to daven for Chayalei Tzva Haganah Yisrael, Refuah Shlema L'chol P'tu'ei Yisrael, and the safe return of our hostages. We learn each day L'ilui Nishmat Saran, Daniel Shimon ben Harav Daron, V'shal Yashem Kim Damo. Next chapter, Tefillah Vasikin Peninei Tzachama. So we have something called Vasikin, we have something called Nates. Let's see what this is about. Hazman hameshubach biyoser likriyas shma l'tefillah hi kivasikin. The ideal or the most praiseworthy time to say kriyas shma and shmona esrei is what's called kivasikin. Vasikin is the term that we use, so it's like vasikin. It's sort of how our teenagers speak, like it precedes every single word. But let's see what this means. Shayikorm eshmam at lifnei heinei tzachama. So as we mentioned previously, they would say Kriya Shema a little before sunrise, and then they would begin Shemona Esrei exactly at sunrise. And the reason for this is, if you daven later, then you're following the nature and the course of the world. And only once the sun has already begun to shine after sunrise, that's when the world starts moving and people start to get going. That's when a person wakes up and realizes and he recognizes that Hashem is his God and he accepts the yoke of heaven upon him and he davens. However, when you daven Vasikin, which means the older ones or the earlier ones, that they actually are going sort of against nature. So even before the sun is shining, and before people are getting going, and even before it's revealed the beauty of nature and everything around you, they're already accepting upon themselves with full faith the yoke of heaven. And as soon as the sun rises and the day begins in earnest, they're already standing in Tefillah and Shemona Esrei, and they're considering and continuing the flow of bracha, of blessing that comes to the world. And Amr Chachamim kol hasamech geula l'tefillah kivasikin eino nizak kol hayom kulo. The Gemara in Bracha says that anybody who daven Shemona Esrei, samech geula l'tefillah, which means that you put the bracha of Goal Yisrael close to davening, but if you do so at Vasikin, meaning so this is if you do it at sunrise exactly, then you will not be harmed the entire day. However, practically speaking, nowadays, let's say Vasikin is in the 5 o'clock zone, so that means that if a person is going to get up and daven that early because you want to achieve this lofty status or you want to be safe from damage all day long, a lofty ideal, but at the same time, by doing so, he might become tired, he won't be able to work properly, he won't be able to study Torah, so that's better that he should daven at a later time. V'kivan shekiyom eruim rabim v'chashuvim, k'shiri Torah v'chasunus miskayim balayla, adif l'rov ha'anashim lishom b'sivas chatzos halayla v'lakum l'achar hanei tzachama. Nowadays, we have so many things going on at night. We have simchas, Baruch Hashem, we have shiurim, and we have all sorts of gatherings. So most people, if they're going to sleep late at night, let's say around midnight, then it's better they get up after sunrise. V'hidr vasikin l'gabeim hu l'hizdarez l'hagil l'beis hakneses l'fnei zman hatchilas hatfilah. So for people like this, or I would say that's most people who don't daven vasikin, so the way that we can fulfill this ideal, if the idea is that we want to be there before the world starts to recognize things. So then the way we could fulfill this is by coming to shul a little bit early. So even if you don't daven at sunrise, specifically per se, let's say you daven like we do at a 6:45 minyan, by coming at 6:40, by coming at 6:35, and getting yourself mentally and physically prepared for tefillah, this is your vasikin. This is a form of fulfilling that ideal. I know many people who will daven Vasikin every day, specifically because of what that Gemara in Brachos and Daf Tes says, that they want to escape harm. People are going through challenging times. Maybe we'll go through Vasikin. It's a big, big undertaking, especially because of the time swings throughout the year. In the winter here in the northeast United States, so Vasikin is sometimes later than our regular minyan. we have to rely on certain leniencies to daven as early as we do at times. And depending on where you're located, this is just as a side point, one of the reasons why many communities are fighting the abolishment of daylight savings time. Because if you live in somewhere like Detroit, Michigan, which is the westernmost part of the Eastern time zone, if they would get rid of daylight savings, it would mean that sometimes the earliest time you could put on talis and tefillin would be 8 o'clock in the morning or something like that, and it's just not tenable for people that have to begin their day and go to work, etc., etc. It's just something to think about. But I know it's late in the winter, but in the summer it's very early, so you have to be very flexible in that sense. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual change, obviously, like all the seasons and the times, but still, it's an adjustment that one has to make. And I know that people who do Davening Vasikin, they generally seem to be tired during the day. So you have a give and a take. Is it better to fulfill this ideal or to be spry, awake, alert, and performing everything with alacrity during the course of your day? So that's a personal decision you have to make, but we certainly want to understand this halacha nonetheless. Thank you so much for joining us. Please continue davening for Chaylei Tzvah and Yisrael, for Shalom and Chol B'Tzvah, Yisrael, and safe return of our hostages. We will see you next time. We'll see tomorrow's American holiday. I'm not sure we're going to have a session. Everything is late tomorrow. Happy birthday, America. And we will see you when we see you. Take care.